Just look at all these game systems. Not one of them lets me enjoy a high quality gaming experience. What's this? Retroid Pocket 2? Enjoy a high quality gaming experience? Why, that's just what I was looking for. Hey there real gamers, Retro Rob here, and today I've got a special treat for you. Yes, it's another one of those amazing handhelds from China. This time we're taking a look at the Retroid Pocket 2, which is an Android-based handheld, and it's pretty interesting. I have to say there's been a couple of handhelds that have come out recently that I've had really mixed feelings on, and this one is probably the machine with the most mixed feelings. I love so much about it, and there's so much that I don't like about it. It's just, wow, it's all over the board. But anyway, let's get started as we always do. See the hand wringing? I'm hand wringing about it. Anyway, we're going to start as we always do with
the front of the box. Also, by the way, came with a couple extra things. This HDMI cable. And this, I believe, is a USB-C to USB adapter. Yep. That is what that is. All right. Anyway, this is the front of the box. Retroid would like you to enjoy a high-quality gaming experience. That's good. All right, across the bottom it says Game Market, and if you recall, on the last version of this, I liked that quite a bit. I had nothing bad to say. It does have Wi-Fi built in. Versus battle function, meaning I guess you can beat somebody up with it. I don't know. There's battery. What is it? 4,000 milliamp or 4,500. It's written in a very, very light font. And I'm having a very hard time reading it. And then finally, high resolution. On the right side, there's a warning saying don't take it apart, which is for the best. Left, this indicates that I bought the orange one. Nothing much on the top or the bottom, just white. Let's take a look at the back for a second. Well, on the back we have a diagram showing what the different buttons do, and that is okay. I don't mind that when they do that. I think it's got a good clean look. Yep, no complaints about the box itself. Remember the old days when the boxes used to be super gaudy. Okay, do not use around crushing walls. Don't throw this out. Do not use this as an umbrella, and don't light on fire. All good ideas. I agree. Let's unbox it. This should be fairly easy. Yep, there we go. I'm too fond of this orangey color. My other one was orangey too. Okay, looks like they included, a screen protector that's pretty thick. I'm not a huge fan of screen protectors on these, but, hey, nothing wrong with it including it. I don't have to put it on. Next, we've got an instruction manual. It opens backwards if you're an American anyway. And there we go. Looks like a pretty decently written manual. Yeah, there's... It's not amazing English, but it's not the worst. Hey, here's a little bit about the specs. Looks like it's got a Cortex A7 quad core, 1.5 gigahertz. Has 1 gig of RAM. That's not too bad for this kind of device. It's got the Mali GPU, which is super popular. Android 6. Yep. Oh, look at it lists the emulators. Pretty cool. All right, let's go on here. Back to it. Here is what I assume is the charging cable. Yep. In white. It says Type C on it. If there's any question on whether this was a Type C, it is a Type C. I don't think there was any. And it looks pretty decently built, actually. I like the feel of it. You know, it reminds me of Apple's cables from their last generation iPad. It's just kind of got that softness to it. Fortunately, it probably doesn't have the problems with it breaking apart like they did, though. Yeah, not bad. Not amazing, but really not bad. It's thick enough. I don't feel like it's going to fall apart. And here we have the device itself. Importantly, there are 2 analog sticks on this. The right one's a slider. Oh, that's odd. I did not know that. So the right, the right analog is a slider analog, similar to the PSP. Left is your standard analog, D-pad, A, B, X, Y. They're a little clicky, but not bad. They're okay. Got your home. Assume that is like the Android home one, because it's Android. Select and start. Got a volume up, volume down. And you got HDMI out, which is pretty cool. USB-C for charging, and it looks like, yeah, they've got this so that you can, got this little guy so you can plug in an extra controller. And power. Then you got a couple of shoulder buttons, and then triggers. The triggers feel really nice. I like that. Let's see, there's a door right here for TF card. Got headset, headphone jack. Yeah, it feels decent. Also, I believe, yep, is that a reset? No, it isn't. They're just rubber stoppers. It feels pretty decent. Looks like they've got a protective screen on it that has some bubbles in it already. That's why I hate those things. Well, it's not terrible. Just a weird choice here. Speaker grills in the front. Hopefully the sound comes out of them, not anywhere else. Nope. Looks like it does. I actually prefer when they put the speaker in the front. Clear sound. All right. Here we go. I'm going to go try this thing out, and I'll be back.
Thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, or I will go Skynet on your butt.
And welcome back. For you, it's been but a moment, but for me, it's been a couple weeks, maybe even 3 now. I think I have a pretty good grip on what the system's capabilities are. The first thing I'm going to start with is looking at my launcher here. Pardon the mess. This is not the launcher I usually use, but to show you some things, I want to be basically the way you'd see it when you get it, except I changed the background. Anyway, a couple things. Number one, this is kind of a stilted, or I don't know, messed up Launcher 3 configuration. Reason being, generally on Launcher 3, if you look at some of my other devices, I can change pages just by going to the edge and pressing off to the left. It's not doing that. It's stuck. So it makes this pretty much useless for getting around with the gamepad. So you press home. After a second, this guy shows up, and yes, you can maneuver with it, which, you know, it's usable, but it's not exactly friendly, and it's annoying because there's other launcher implementations that do this fine, so I don't know why they used what they used. Really kind of annoying. Anyway, that's a complaint for mode 1, which is Android mode. And I'm going to come back to this in a minute, but I want to show you that there's more than one way to play. And of course, you do have their own Retroid OS, which is kind of cool in my opinion. I don't use it, but it is kind of cool. You can go to the toolbox here. This is when you first get it, by the way. Tell it to install the Retroid Pocket app. And then you can go back. Once it's completed, you're going to see that there is a Retroid app. Yeah, where is it? A little R somewhere. There it is. And if I run that, it will reboot into Pocket System mode, or Retroid Pocket OS mode. Takes a second. And there we go. This mode
it will stay in this mode, by the way, until I tell it to change back. But I want to note that for beginners, this is great. You can download and add new games with it. You can play, really nice interface. Absolutely nothing wrong with going this way over the Android OS, the stock Android OS that it does have available to you. But it's nice that you have a choice. That said, in my implementation of this, I totally got rid of this. I've got a backup of the original SD card, which I'm running right now, which has it on it. But, you know, you can go in the game market here. You can download new stuff. Pretty great. But again, I just don't use it, largely because there's emulators that are available that are better, and I don't really need their market that much. Plus, because I want to run a lot of Android stuff on here, I will run out of room if I use this implementation, because I need to have that storage available in exFAT format. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, sorry about that. But anyway, that's one of the reasons why I got rid of it. Actually, that's the main reason, because I could not actually have both at the same time the way I wanted to do things. All right, the bottom here, I have switch system. Gonna hit A, and I will now reboot into Android. And we're back into Android mode. Now, quick note, if you wanted to keep everything pretty much stock, in other words, keep that Retroid OS on here and be able to pop out the TF card and just drop ROMs onto it, you can do that. All you need to do is get a larger TF card, because this thing came pretty much full, at least mine did, and copy all the files from this one to your new TF card. It'll take exFAT, no problem. I've seen people use imagers, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can just, you know, basically flat copy those files. All right, that said, if you want to change things up a little bit and use this as more of an Android machine, you can basically drop the Retroid OS. Hey, by the way, for goodness sake, don't do this on the TF card that came with it. Keep your original TF card as a backup in case something goes wrong or you change your mind in the future. You can go back then, all right? One more time. Keep your original TF card around. Do all this on a new one. So, here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this TF card that I've got in here into internal storage for Android. I'm going to go to the gear. We go to storage and USB. In this case, there's already stuff on this card, but let's assume you bought a blank. It doesn't really matter, because we're going to do the same thing. See these ellipses up here? Move up there. Come on, you. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? What's kind of funny is I did this like a couple times in testing. Worked just fine. Here we go. Ellipses. There we go. Settings. And then I'm going to format as internal. Then it becomes Android storage. The negative of doing that is, of course, you quit being able to use this as a TF card for your PC. In other words, when you put this card into your PC, it will not recognize it. It'll recognize it as a TF card, but it won't recognize the format of the partitions. So you won't be able to just drag and drop. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how to get around that. So format is internal. You complete the process. I'm not going to do it here because I don't need another internal one. I'm going to go pop in the original card or my working card, and then we'll continue with this.
Warning, radiation at unsafe levels.
Now we're back onto my 128 gig TF card, and we're going to make some changes. One thing to note is that this does use the Google Play Store, so if you are interested in picking up a new launcher, which you absolutely should be if you're going to do it this way, you can go to the Google Play Store, pick them up. You can go wherever and pick them up that you're used to getting it. You know, if you're a fan of Aptoid or something like that, feel free getting it there. You can download it directly. Doesn't matter. Just try to stay safe. Don't give yourself a virus. But this does support the Google Store. Google Store. Yeah, the Play Store. So feel free to utilize that. And let's just go to home here. And this is where you pick your launcher. I'm using the ATV launcher. The reason I'm using this launcher is because it is super lazy to set up. Basically don't have to do a lot to set it up. If anybody's interested in how to set up this launcher, let me know. It's not a lot of work, and that's why I use it. And there we go. We're back in my launcher. And I mentioned that you're not going to be able to pop the TF card into this thing to add ROMs. So that's going to be kind of a problem. Fortunately, they do include... where are you? Mixplorer on here. And since it's already there, why not use that? And here we go. And I just want to show you how to set up an FTP server real quick. Servers. And start FTP server. Okay, it'll show you the address. Just type that in to your Explorer, not Internet Explorer, your File Explorer in Windows, and you'll be able to get right there and start dumping ROMs. It will take a while because you're on Wi-Fi, but you can start dropping ROMs on there and it works just fine. Pretty simple, really. If you haven't, you should definitely set up your wireless. It's basic Android setup. I don't think I need to go through that much. And I think that is all I have to say from a file system standpoint. I suppose we should start checking out some games.
Retroid plays everything.
Alright, let's start a little bit with Dreamcast. I'm going to say that overall I'm fairly disappointed, to be honest, with the Dreamcast performance. It's definitely not up to, and isn't expected to be up to the level of Dreamcast emulation of something like the NVIDIA Shield Portable. But, I kind of expected better out of it. I know some have recommended using things like RetroArch, Flycast. I've used both. I've tried multiple versions of RetroArch. I've tried Flycast itself. But I've not really been happy with the emulation on any of them. I mean, some are better than others. Flycast is clearly a little bit better, but man, kind of a mess. And the first thing I'm going to show you, and I'm hoping that somebody can help me out with this, it's that, come on, you. There we go. Gotta know what I'm doing. It's that Soul Calibur is kind of a mess. And this plays really good on the Arcade 2020, which arguably is a weaker machine. And let me show you what this one does. And I've seen people have decent emulation on this, so I don't understand. I've tried 3 different versions of the ROMs. Not 100% sure what's going on there. Usually this is a scaling issue, but I didn't find any scaling options that would have caused it. In other words, they're set at 100%. So here's what we get. Oop, here, let me turn that up a little bit. All right, you see that? How the graphics are all messed up? That's a problem. Again, it plays okay depending on which emulator you're using, but it doesn't look good. And that's really problematic with me. So if anybody does know the fix for this, and I've tried looking for it and I don't see anything on it, just general stuff. And it's too bad because what looks good looks great. And I can actually, right now I don't have the settings real decent for this game, but I can actually get it playing pretty smooth without the music cutting out like it is right now. But again, I never can get rid of the texture problems. Yes, this victory goes to Cheese and Meat Tsurugi.
Easy taxi.
Yeah, and this works pretty good. I'm going to turn it down a little bit just because, number one, it's a little choppy right now at the beginning, but number two, I don't want to get a stupid copyright strike. This runs pretty good. It's actually fun to play Crazy Taxi on. I'm going to have a hard time doing it because of where the controls are, but we'll do a little bit here real quick. Let's get it on, he says. Great. But it looks really good. I think this looks really nice. You know, it's enjoyable enough to play, you know? Sorry. There is an occasional stutter, but all in all, this game runs pretty darn well. And we'll just drop somebody off and hit a bunch. Great job there. But it really is controlling well. Any badness in how the game's being played is all me. There we go. And there we go. There's a drop off. And yeah, I mean, it looks and plays pretty decent. So this is okay. And this emulator is very hit or miss that way. There's another Dreamcast emulator for it. I'm trying to remember the name. Dreamer or something like that. And that one I found generally performs better. But unfortunately, couldn't get it to run on this, which is kind of sad. Really. Was it Dreamu? I don't know. Somebody out there knows it. Give a holler about it. And let's go on. If you want to play some of the shooter classics that are on the Dreamcast, I don't think you're going to have many problems, other than some of the 3D ones don't work very well, but the 2D ones, they work really pretty well and are fun to play on the device. The controls work pretty well. I haven't really had any problems. Not a huge fan of the slider. We'll play with that a little bit later maybe. But all in all, the buttons perform quite well. I don't have any missed button presses. And it feels pretty comfortable. Unless I'm holding it like this, of course. But as you can see, you know, the Gigawing stuff runs pretty darn well. Come on, you. By the way, I'm running this on Recast right now instead of Flycast. So it'd probably run a little bit better even on Flycast. Possibly, anyway. Oh, yeah. Alright, let's move on. Here's Twinbee on the PSP. Runs okay, not perfect. I've found that PSP emulation is okay as far as I've tested on here, which is not very much, to be honest. I do have a fair PSP collection, so I have not been testing this one as much as I have some of the other emulators and games. That said, if it plays Neo Thexder, I'm usually pretty happy with it. And Thexder runs like a champ. You know, I first played Thexder on the Apple II GS, and it was instantly one of my favorite games. I still think it's great. There's a Nintendo NES version, Nintendo Entertainment System version, for those of you who are all Nintendo correctionists, and it is quite good as well. That said, I think Neo Thexder is really the ultimate version of this game. It's really, really good. Sorry about that, I almost got into the menu. But yeah, this is pretty great. I have nothing bad to say with the way it runs it. And who doesn't want to be a giant robot? Really? A giant transforming robot. I cannot believe this game was never released on anything else. It just kills me that Thexder like never made it to the other game systems. It just moiters me because you can't get a physical copy of this, so far as I know. Die! Come on, you. There we go. Transform! Yeah, pretty happy with that. N64oid came with this game system, and so far as I can tell, it runs pretty darn well. You might want to mess with the controls a little bit, because they're a little bit, I don't know, goofy by default, I guess is the term. But it runs really smooth, and I think it looks really good as well. I haven't really seen much in the way of slowdowns or graphical glitches. I'm really, really happy with the way this does N64. So I think if you were looking for something that can a little bit outdo the RG350 as far as what it can emulate, this might be a good reason for you if you're a big N64 fan anyway. Oh, come on. Quit it. Really? That was bad. Dun 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 dun. Nope, nope, nope. Horrible play. Cue for the gameplay comments. Come on. One thing I was able to map, and I don't know why the maps haven't held on this, is I was able to map this so that it would change the camera a little bit. Here we go. Let's not get mushed. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Sneak by him. Slow. What could possibly go wrong? Whew. Made it. Oh no! Oh. By the way, if you want to get out of a game, in the case of many of these emulators, because they're Android based, you know, they kind of plan for you to have a touch screen, but you can hold this home button, get your pointer back. In many cases, you can go to the top of the screen and get to its menus through there. Oops, sorry. And this is one of the big negatives for this device for me. I do find the interface is often annoying. I do have complaints there. There we go. And then you're kind of switching button presses a lot. But you can save the states, so that's nice.
My best. Andros won't have his way with me.
That's right. Andros won't have his way with you. One of the best lines in video game history, if you ask me. He had his way with everybody else, but not with me. Here we go. Do some Star Fox. Again, the screen on this is really quite nice. I think things look really good. It's got a decent viewing angle. The sound is okay. I'm not talking about like in emulation. I'm talking about the sound on the machine in general. It can get fairly loud, but not super loud. But it's fairly clear. I mean, again, you know, occasionally in emulations you're gonna have problems, or emulation you're gonna have problems. But in general, the sound's quite good.
Yes,
let's rock and roll. and really mess things up here. One of the nice things about playing these games and recording it is sometimes you guys notice something that I don't notice. You know, like something wrong or something that works better than other devices. You're welcome, and then I shot you.
We're entering Corneria City now.
Again, maybe a little bit of slowdown from time to time. But I think it looks really great. Very clean.
Everybody stay alert.
Yes, everybody, stay alert. Ooh. Yeah, mess that up. Oh. Way to go.
You got an enemy on your tail. Use the brakes.
Where are my brakes? Oh, man. Making a mess out of this.
I'll take this. Get the one behind me.
Alright, where is he?
Use the boost to take.
Use the boost.
I can use some help here, Fox.
Yeah, I don't think I've mapped that button. Cripes.
Do a barrel roll.
There. I'm not playing well. No, I'm not. Good stuff, good stuff. Oof. Alright, here we go. Boss battle.
Try a somersault.
Got him.
Enemy robot, dead ahead.
Not an enemy robot.
All range mode. So this is Star Fox.
Oh.
I'm going to crush you.
Yeah, I have problems because I can't find the dang brakes, so I'm probably gonna die.
Cross that drop will die.
Guess I'm gonna have to map these. I literally decided to bust this out for this video and had not played it on this device before. And the lack of mapping work before this is definitely showing.
Try a U-turn.
Yeah, I'd try one, but I can't do jack. Alright. Well, this is not gonna happen because I'm missing some of my controls. But, if I wanted to, I could hold this home button.
Try a U-turn.
Wait. Hold the... Again, this is one of my big complaints about this thing. There. Now I could go in the menu, and I could go into settings, and I could remap them. I probably will eventually, when I get to it. And here we have some Rampage running on PlayStation. Early on PlayStation emulators, for whatever reason, this game had problems. So I always test it. Plus, I like playing the game, so, you know, there's that. This does a pretty good job on PlayStation, as expected. No real complaints I have for it. I haven't tested it with two-controller, with two-stick emulation, because I don't really play a lot of games that require two sticks. But I hear it does work, so that's good. Can't speak to it personally, though. Cook County. We're going to take it out. Come on now. Man, I love this game. There's been a number of decent versions of this made over the years. This one's no exception. As I recall, I bought this game right when it came out because I used to love the old Rampage arcade game. It was one of my favorites. Alright, there we go. Eat them. No. I find that funny as heck. As always, this emulator has state saves, all the things you come to expect, and kind of a googly interface, which you also would expect from Android stuff. There we go. Eat 'em. Nice hors d'oeuvre. Ooh, did I get myself there? Come here. Mmm, tasty. Oop, that one's going. Come on, really? There's stuff over here. Oh, that's it. Died. You know, the preloading game is a lost art. Alright, every time I like to do a little bit of Ridge Racer, so let's get Ridge Racer going. And you really expect anything to be wrong with it? No. But again, you know, as expected, solid PlayStation emulator. I like that I can use my analog stick. I know on some emulators in the past, I've run into a deal where this analog stick does not work at all. In some games, of course, it's better to use your digital stick. Otherwise, you do what I just did there. Ooh. I'm working on it. Nothing like a game that berates you. Come on, you. Ooh. Checkpoint. Yeah, I'm working on it. Boy, when you've been playing newer Ridge Racers, it's really hard to go back to the original. Jeez. Come on. Getting there, getting there, getting there. Ah, it's all over, I tell ya. You're too slow. I hear a little bit of jumping in the music. Hear that? He's got a stutter. Come on, you. Checkpoint. Just out of control on this, huh? Come on, you. There we go, we're getting better. Oh no! Ah, kiss the wall again. Yeah, I'm in trouble. Kissing the wall a lot this game, not playing well. Definitely not my best race. Again, just smacking it all the time. There we go. Ah. No. I'm actually playing worse than when I started the race. Ah. Unbelievable. Yeah, no. I don't got him, because there's the finish. Bummer.
Alright, and here we have a little bit of Pang. This is on the MAME emulator, or MAME for Droid. The MAME for Droid emulator works great until it doesn't. I mean, you know, there's not much you can say about it. It tends to do okay on early 16-bit games, 8-bit games, and things like that. It can be really finicky about what ROM sets it uses, and they're not always clear about what ROM sets you should be using, which has been one of my long-term complaints about MAME. But that said, I mean, it's a good emulator and plays a lot of games that I like. So it's, you know, it's not terrible or anything. By the way, I switched over here to HDMI output. A couple notes about HDMI on this. It obviously works pretty well, but I have found that some video sources, like some TVs and this recording equipment, will not take the HDMI audio output. And that's kind of a pain. That said, you could work around it by plugging in through the audio port on the bottom and then plugging that in, and that seems to work just fine. But you know, a little bit of a pain in the neck that you don't necessarily want to deal with. Let's try another game real quick. Alright, and here we go with some Mr. Do's Castle. It's a game I played a lot as a early teenager. Smack that key, there we go. Dude. Anyway, really good Mr. Do sequel game. A lot of fun. Really doesn't follow the Mr. Do general format at all. Oh, shoot. There we go. Got lucky there. But really a great platformer in its own right. Solid stuff here. A second, let's just unlock the door. And bap. Not bad. Plays well on here. Looks good too. Total Carnage, which is a great freaking game on the Super Nintendo. I find that this game tends to cause a lot of Super Nintendo emulators the fits. I mean, just in slowdowns and such. And it runs this pretty well. Even though I've heard in the forums some people complaining about Super Nintendo emulation, I haven't really found anything that it didn't emulate fairly decently. That said, of course, you know, emulators are just emulators. None of them are perfect. And, you know, sometimes you're going to have performance problems or games that don't work. You know, an emulator is just not the original console. It doesn't have the compatibility of it. I can't believe I fell for that. You know how many times I played this game? I know that's... I know that that's there. Anyway. Unbelievable. Total Carnage, by the way, is a great freaking game. If you ever have a chance to play it, definitely do. Especially if you happen to like dual stick shooters, which this essentially is, of course. But it uses the face buttons as the sticks. Good. Oh man, I'm dying a lot. I used to play this with the wife quite a bit. Not that you can tell by my gameplay. I gotta tell you, bad gameplay, yet again, a theme in this video. Yet another video where bad gameplay really, really takes front and center. Come on, you just die. This game, when it came out, was just amazing to me. I mean, it was so close to the arcade that I just was blown away by it. Solid stuff. Let's go on. Thought real quick I'd do some Star Fox because this is another game that tends to give Super Nintendo emulators the fits. And we'll just do the game. Let's see how this one is. I haven't tested this one on it yet, so... Corn area, because this game's corny. Dad puns all day on Retro Rob's gaming videos. Retro Rob plays everything. Yeah, I only rebranded like 4 years ago. Good work. Let's see how it plays. And you'd think it played the N64 version fairly well. You would think this one would be pretty easy for it. Another game that blew me away. I think my uncle got this one first. And was kind of blown away by it. Just great graphics. I mean, for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, there might be a little bit of slowdown here. By the way, am I the only one who really prefers the original Star Fox to pretty much any of the other Star Fox games? I finished the N64 Star Fox, not that you could really tell by my gameplay here, and I thought it was kind of short. This one I have not finished, but then again, you know, I've played more of it, but I haven't played it for as long at a time. You know what I mean? So I played it a lot, but in shorter sessions and kind of spread out, whereas Star Fox 64, you know, I just basically sat there and played it to the end a couple times. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it seems pretty close to right for me, and this would be one of the harder games to emulate, I would think. So, I don't see any problems here. Anybody? Anybody see anything really wrong here? I mean, not, like, you know, again, it's emulation, it's not perfect, but I don't see anything really, really wrong. I have to play this on the Super Nintendo itself again and just see. Maybe over time my memory of it isn't quite right, but this is how I remember it playing. Alright, at the risk of spending another like 10 minutes explaining how I don't think it's that bad, let's just go on. Here's another game that I do pretty much on every video that I do TurboGrafx 16 emulation. That's Zonk. The reason why I cover it is that early emulators had a pretty serious problem with this game. and that is the background would tear really, really, really bad. As you can see, that's not happening here. I wouldn't have expected it, to be honest, because I haven't seen that issue in a while, but I still check for it. That said, I mean, this is using the same emulator I use on pretty much every Android device, so, and it runs it just as well, which is quite well. Zonk is one of the best shooters, in my opinion, of all time. It's amazing. It was underrated in its day, I thought. Just great variety in gameplay, wonderful graphics, amazing soundtrack, just an amazing soundtrack, all around a great game. And I want to point out that in the late 90s, I think I sold this game for about 10 bucks. It just makes me sick. It's just wrong. Ah, well. I'll be getting this one again eventually. Gonna man up to this boss real quick. As you can see, you know, really big sprites, no slowdown, plays great. Turbo graphics in its time was underrated, but fortunately the years have been kind to it. It has aged really well and has finally really gotten the appreciation that it has well deserved. And I'm glad about that. Let's go on. Alright, here we are with Fractal Combat X, and really the point of this is to show you that this thing can run Android pretty well. I mean, this is not like an amazingly processor intensive game, but it's not a game that can be run by a really weak device. I also want to point out, I think I did before too, that this uses the Google Play Store right out of the box. You know, no modifications needed. It goes right on there. It has no problems connecting, and you can just download your games from there, so you don't have to go to a, you know, like a pirate store if you don't want to and risk getting a virus. So that's pretty nice, and I like that. And, you know, that's a big plus for me because I like Android games, and one of the reasons I've been holding on to the NVIDIA Shield so long is because it does this kind of thing so well. That said, much like the NVIDIA Shield, its OS is getting kind of long in the tooth, so some newer games won't run on it, so you got to be kind of careful about that. And they're newer games, you know, it's newer games that, come on, there we go. It's newer games that you would, should be able to run on this, but just don't run because of the virtue of the OS. Oh, I'm gonna crash! No! Whew, that's what I get for talking. Man. It's a fun little game, by the way. It kind of reminds me of an Afterburner kind of game, and you can play it like in an arcade mode where it plays a little bit more like Afterburner. Personally, I prefer it with a more realistic light model. That's just me. Come on, you. Come on. Let's go back around. What else should I mention? Oh yeah, as always, Android controller support is a mixed bag. You never know what's going to run with it and what won't. So if you can get a demo of a game before you try it out, definitely do that, because, you know, the controller may or may not work. Just depends. It tends to work with stuff that works on the NVIDIA Shield, but I've found a case or two where that isn't true. Alright, let's go on. Alright, so here we have a little dead trigger, which runs pretty decently on the system. It looks like it's scaling back a little bit on the graphics versus some other handhelds I've used, but you know, it's definitely playable. The real problem, of course, is that this slider is not real great for first-person shooters. It does not feel right. It does work though. I mean, it's not horrendous by any means. I slowed it down a little bit to give me some more accuracy, but that means I can't really play as aggressively as I generally do in this game, and that's, you know, kind of a problem. That said, I mean, you can play it with this, and it's not terrible. It's just not what I would consider an optimal way to play this game. Another thing to note about it is that this game does need you to use the touchscreen during some portions of the menu. So that means you're going to end up going kind of back and forth, switching between joystick and... Ooh, man. I can't do any of that. And the simulated touchscreen. And that can get to be kind of tedious. There we go. You're all dead. You're not, though. You're not. Headshot. Oh, man. Really? There's ADS. Works just fine, too. Pop those little headies. Come on, you. I gotta carry the box. To the collection point. By the way, you can spend some actual money doing that, so you gotta be careful how often you use weapons like the auto cannon or whatever the heck you call it. Hurry up! Why aren't you running? There we go. Delivered. Mission success. Alright, let's go on. Alright, here's a little more recent game. This is the Dear God, and it works just fine. This is a side-scrolling puzzle slash platformer game. Again, gets really good reviews. I say that again because this is like take number 10. But really a very pretty game in my opinion. I don't need to worry about that. There's no spike traps yet, so I don't have to worry about that. Starting right at the beginning here, just so I can show you a few elements without getting stuck, because eventually, darn it, eventually it gets quite a bit harder. It's a little bit harder to talk. Okay, here we go. Puzzle. Anything else going on over here? Usually there's a couple more. Huh. Well, let's keep going. Friendly. Fire doesn't burn you. Boxes will hurt you. There we go. Oh wait, I shouldn't say fire. These fires will hurt you. And these can be a bit of a challenge. There's the heals. You can eat to heal. Just press down. And you see some food. I like the lights. I mean the lighting effects. They're really nice. I kind of want to go back and get that other apple real quick. I'll probably do a playthrough on this one eventually, as I get further in. Alright. Bad fire. He walks right through it. Uh-oh. Ha! Can't eat that. There we go. Whoa! Well, I'm alright. Wow, can I swim down there? I'm not gonna try it. I didn't even realize I could go down there and live. Last time I didn't miss it. Ooh, get away, snake. Alright, those spike pits, they'll kill you. Spike pits are not good. Alligators. Oh, look at like Pitfall Harry. I can climb across the back. That's pretty cool. Boy, that tree got in the way. Come on. There we go. Not distinguishing myself. Would you believe that there is some lag due to the fact that I'm playing it on the big screen? Would you believe that? If I tried to sell that one to you, that's what's going on. Maybe if I hadn't been, like, playing lousy throughout the day. Mayhap I could have got away with that one. Come on. What's there? Oh, game save. Duh. Wait. Couldn't get on top of him. Oh, he is tearing me up. Aw, there we go. Alright. Let's get a verdict on this thing. I think we played quite a bit, and you've got a pretty decent idea of what this handheld can do.
And this about wraps it up for the Retroid Pocket 2. I thought the general construction of the device feels really good. It's got nice plastics on it. Feels very durable. It's not creaky. That's really a big plus in these. I mean, it does. It feels really nice in your hands. The triggers on here are great. I'd love to see more of this. If you look at it, it has kind of this curved design that fits really well in your hand. And I love the way the button presses feel when you use them. I mean, just really nice. That feels really good. The A, B, X, and Y, oops, that was accidental, could use to be a little bit bigger in my opinion, but they work just fine. D-pad, ditto, works just fine. Had no problems with that. Left analog stick is really quite nice. I absolutely hate the slider on the right though. That's just personal opinion though. If you like sliders, you'll like this one. It's fine. The sound system is pretty decent. It's clear enough, not a lot of bass, but at least they put the speakers in the front so you don't muffle when you're playing the game. That's really pretty good. The video output on this had some issues. If you recall, I mentioned them during gameplay. Sometimes the audio doesn't come out. Otherwise, it's fine. You can, of course, get around that by using the headphone jack to plug in for sound. Fine. It'll work that way. What else do I have to say about this? The screen itself is really nice. 640 by 480 resolution. Looks very clear. Has an amazing viewing angle. Really nice stuff. I mean, feels OEM. Have no complaints there. As far as the emulation goes, it's all over the board. The big deal, of course, they were making about this was the Dreamcast emulation. It's not that great, at least not in my experience. Maybe I can get some tips down below how to improve it, but trying multiple emulators, it just wasn't that great and not something I'd recommend. The Arcade 2020 even did a little bit better job, to be honest. As far as Android gaming goes, it does a pretty good job. It's hit or miss, but when it hits, boy, it hits hard. It plays really, really well, and it's a joy to play with. So, all in all, I think the really, really great thing about this game system is the fact that it's well under $100. I've seen them priced even under $80, and that makes this a really good deal. And at the price, if you can put up with the few problems, I think it's an easy thumbs up. I want to thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in a couple days. Bye.